The most feared soldiers on the Eastern Front during World War II. The Eastern Front during World War II was the largest and bloodiest theater of the conflict, stretching from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea. Millions of soldiers clashed in battles of unimaginable scale, and entire nations were scarred by destruction. Among the chaos, certain groups of soldiers gained terrifying reputations. Whether due to their unmatched skill, brutal tactics, or psychological impact, they became legends of fear on the battlefield. This article explores the most feared soldiers who fought on the Eastern Front and why their enemies dreaded facing them. The Soviet snipers. When the German Wehrmacht advanced deep into Soviet territory. In 1941, they quickly discovered a deadly foe, the Red Army's sharpshooters. Snipers became one of the most effective weapons of the Soviet defense, especially in the ruined cities of Stalingrad and Leningrad. Vasily Zaytsev, perhaps the most famous sniper, killed over 200 German soldiers during the Battle of Stalingrad. His ability to stalk enemy officers and machine gun crews caused panic among German ranks. Lyudmila Pavlichenko, a female sniper, earned the nickname Lady Death, with over 300 confirmed kills. Her success proved that fear on the battlefield was not limited by gender. The psychological terror of knowing a single bullet could end your life at any moment made Soviet snipers among the most feared individuals on the Eastern Front. Finnish soldiers. The White Death. While Finland was a smaller nation compared to the Soviet Union, its soldiers gained an almost mythical reputation during the Winter War, 1939 to 1940, and later, the Continuation War. The most legendary figure was Simo Heiha, known as the White Death. Armed only with a rifle and his camouflage, Heiha is credited with more than 500 kills in less than 100 days. The Finnish army's mastery of winter warfare, skiing tactics, and ambushes made them terrifying opponents for Soviet troops unprepared for the harsh conditions. Even though Finland was eventually forced into a compromise peace, the fear inspired by its soldiers lingered long after the war. German Waffen-SS units. On the other side, the German military deployed its elite Waffen-SS divisions to the Eastern Front. These units were infamous for both their fanatical loyalty and ruthless tactics. Divisions like Das Reich and Totenkopf were known for their discipline in combat and their brutality against both enemy soldiers and civilians. They were heavily armed, often receiving better equipment than regular Wehrmacht troops, which made them formidable opponents. Their reputation for refusing to surrender and fighting to the last man created fear even among experienced Red Army soldiers. Though feared for their combat effectiveness, the Waffen-SS were also loathed for their atrocities, which contributed to the deep hatred on the Eastern Front. Soviet partisans. Behind the German front lines, entire forests and villages became battlegrounds due to the Soviet partisan movement. These irregular fighters conducted sabotage operations, ambushes, and assassinations. Railroads were blown up, supply lines were destroyed, and German officers lived in constant fear of sudden attacks. The psychological toll was immense. Soldiers knew that even areas supposedly under German control were never truly safe. Partisans also spread propaganda and inspired local resistance, making them a symbol of terror to German occupation forces. Stormtroopers and close combat specialists, urban warfare on the Eastern Front, particularly during Stalingrad, gave rise to specialized close combat units. Both Germans and Soviets formed small groups of highly trained soldiers skilled in street fighting, using grenades, flamethrowers, and submachine guns. In the ruins of cities, combat was often reduced to brutal room-to-room battles. These soldiers were feared not just for their weapons, but for the merciless nature of close-quarters combat, where no prisoners were taken. The psychological impact. What made these soldiers truly feared was not only their combat skills, but the mental strain they placed on their enemies. Snipers turned every battlefield into a nightmare of uncertainty. Finnish ski troops appeared out of nowhere, striking and vanishing into the snow. Waffen SS units instilled dread by their reputation for brutality. Partisans made German soldiers feel unsafe even in their own rear lines. Fear itself became a weapon as powerful as any gun or tank. Conclusion: the Eastern Front of World War II was a place of extremes, extreme violence, extreme suffering, and extreme bravery. Among the millions who fought, certain groups of soldiers stood out, not just for their effectiveness, but for the terror they inspired in their enemies. Whether it was a lone sniper hidden in the rubble, a white-clad Finn skiing silently through the snow, or a black uniformed SS unit advancing without mercy, these were the most feared